Okay, all
I'm down
right.
here.
Hey, I'm up there. How's that happening? Hello, everyone.
Oh,
Hey, all right.
Wow.
hey, Seminole State family, and hey, let me clarify. Seminole State family means Seminole State family members around the world. So you don't have to be a enrolled student or a working faculty or staff member at Seminole State. If you're watching, you're part of our Seminole State family. So I'm Nicole from the library. I'm doing the most, like I always do,
Oh,
and I am joined. Yes, and I am joined by. We'll go with.
Oh,
oh,
yes.
you're-
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm also here in the library.
And
I thought you were going to say I'm also doing the most. I'm Information Jason, librarian.
Jason, if you're doing the most, put it on your little tagline thing, and then I know for sure.
No problem,
because
Nicole.
It's like,
There we go. Edit.
okay, so okay. So today, listen, I wanted to experiment with a series that we do once in a while called Ultra Niche. So like getting like really far down, a deep dive into a really niche area of librarianship, or like, and something that students can use. It's not like we just are going to talk about librarian stuff for librarians. It's for the benefit of the student's academic journey. And today we're going to niche down into subject headings. Okay, so subject headings are one of the tools that you can use to enhance, improve your searching. If you're searching for something in the library catalog, for a book or ebook, or if you're searching in the databases for a particular journal article or a scholarly article. So we're going to look at what that is. We're going to define what a subject heading is, and we're going to talk about how exactly to use them to help you. And it is like a little bit of an experiment. It's not like something like, once again, research is strategic exploration. So everything that we do as librarians, we're always having to experiment and play. So it's not like a hard and fast thing. It's a very like, it's an art and a science. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
That sounds
agreed.
great, Nicole. That's
Okay.
right. Ross and I agree.
Okay, wonderful. You better. Okay, so we'll talk about by defining them first. Subject headings versus keywords. And let's go ahead. I'll pop in my screen share. So, and remember, guys, I will keep talking forever. So y'all better like cut me off and interrupt me. And if you need to add something or correct me, okay? My
Okay.
lamp is doing the most today. All right. So we're at the library homepage. And one of the places where you can get to the catalog or the library search engine is from this search widget right here on the screen. You can also go straight into databases if you know you need articles. But let's go ahead and let's do, what are these dogs? Nobody's doing a paper on dogs.
I don't think so. Let's do something bigger than that. Let's do climate change, or let's do
okay.
Atlantic Ocean, or let's do pollution, or
Okay.
maybe there's a theme there.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put quotation marks around climate change, because I want to search that phrase. I don't want to search the word climate and the word change and where they're individually maybe attached to some different things. I definitely want something about climate change. So I'm going to put quotation marks around it and click search. And oh, cool. We don't have a automatically generated duplicate tab. That was a issue that was happening just recently, but not anymore. Oh, the chat popped up. I mean, no, thanks. I'm a librarian. I don't need live chat. All right. So we're in a search page. And this could be, we can also find articles in here. We don't have to go to the databases link that I just referenced, but here's where we find books, ebooks, database articles, or AKA scholarly articles, AKA the resources you need for your paper, AKA the tough stuff that we can help you with. Is there anything
AKA
else?
also known as.
Yes. Okay. And this technically was a keyword search.
It is, yes.
Okay. I'm going to click on advanced search right up top so that we can start talking about subject terms versus keywords. Control plus to make this thing larger.
Thank you for making it a little bigger there. Now I can see it.
Okay. So it automatically had me do any field. So that could be title, author, description, summary. It could be the company name of like who published the book. So if it's Climate Change Publishers, it would pull up a book by Climate Change Publishers. So anywhere. It's a keyword. Keyword can be anywhere in any type of typed information that describes a result.
Yeah, most of the time those keyword searches, what you're doing is you're kind of casting a wide net across a bunch of different things in one shot, and it's a good way to track down things. You might find things that wouldn't ordinarily show up with this subject search, but subject searching is definitely a more strategic way to do it.
Yes, more strategic. So that keyword search, and I'm not signed in, so the numbers could change if I signed in. The keyword search for a phrase climate change has 311,000 results. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to go up here in the advanced search. I have the ability to change it. I don't have to retype what I searched. I can change this to subject, as in the subject heading. All right. And then I'm going to click search again, and we'll get to defining it a little bit more specifically, but I want us to have a visual. I want us to be in like an item record where we can really talk about it with a visual accompanying it. Okay, so it shaved off some. We've got a little over 219,000 results. So obviously that's still a lot. It didn't shave it down too much. Okay, so now let's talk about what is the subject heading versus the keyword. Let's see. Jason, pick one of these items for me to click on.
Sure.
What looks good?
Pick that one.
Adaptations of coastal cities to global warming, sea level rise, climate change, and endemic hazards.
The one right above it. Pick that one. 2021. Climate change economics. I want to know the economics. I want to know more about pluralism or responsibility. Where did that come up? It says climate economics. I'm not really sure. Ross is giving it a face.
You want to learn something new, right? Okay. So once again, when I searched the climate keyword, it could be from any of this typed information and this item record. I would have pulled up climate change. Mm-hmm. But since I clicked on subject and what now?
No, we have one. I see one subject. That's it. Climate change mitigation. And I'm not sure it's the economic aspect. So I don't know. Is this your card? Is that what you're looking for? Is this your card?
Well, so basically this subject heading, okay, climate change is in it, but obviously there's some mitigation - economic aspects. There are literally millions of official, professional, technical subject tags that information professionals, not like librarians, but also like systems librarians, and maybe Ross, some of the other roles. I think it's even outside librarianship, the people that actually literally classify or work in the systems that classify knowledge so that we can access it online.
Yeah, you're right. Because every one of these tools even defines their subjects a little differently, which I'm sure we'll look at in a little bit. But there's no guaranteed subject word that's going to work everywhere. So we do kind of have to experiment on here a little bit too.
Yes. But these are every piece of knowledge, like this book, when it was published and given, when it was first published and given like a Library of Congress classification number, ISBN, okay, it was assigned subject tags. Now, different libraries and different institutions might choose to assign it with some different subject tags, but by and large, our college or another college down the road, or maybe another college in another state, will probably more or less pick the same subject headings. We warned you, this is ultra niche. We're getting geeky here. There can be some differences, but more or less, they're not going to be very widely divergent. Okay. So once again, do I have it up here? Yes. And thanks for changing. I like that color combo, Jason. That's more eye-catching. Thank you. I can read it better. Subject headings employ technical and professional language. So as a student, maybe this is not the professional and technical language is not something you might really be aware of. That makes sense. You wouldn't be expected to, but there are tools in the library catalog or search engine, as well as in the database search engine, which we'll go there next after we're done the catalog, that will help you pick from amongst this professional and technical language. Okay. before I move on, and once again, climate economics, feel free to interrupt me at any time if you need to add something in. I feel like I'm the only one talking, and I just don't. I don't want.
Well, something I was going to bring up, Nicole, is that we use climate change specifically as a subject, but climate change is like one of the ways to say that topic. There's lots of different ways to say it. Like I was searching over here and I tried global warming instead of climate change, and I got a completely different pool of information because the way they classified that subject is different. So sometimes that terminology isn't like so universal. So we do have to be creative when we're choosing these words.
And I think we're gonna I want to show one more thing, and then when we get back to the main menu of results list, Ross, I think we are gonna see the spot where we can nose around to find the language, like the different ways of describing it. I do want to point out though, before we go back, that any item, if you read this description, you say, you know what, this is just about what I'm looking for. I want to see what other items are classified with this official professional technical language under a subject heading that's the same. So you can click on that link and it will take you to like every item, most of the items that we have that are classified as such with that subject heading. So that's one thing that might be useful to somebody when they're searching for items.
It's a great way to browse too. I mean, if you're just looking to kind of see what's out there, if you can find a subject that looks really good and you kind of go through those paces like Nicole did there, like you'll hit on similar and comparable sources too. So I'll do that a lot when I just want to kind of see what's out there.
Now, one thing about subject headings and subject terms, where they're called different things, but it's always subject. They're in a nested or nesting format. So over here on the left-hand side of my results list screen in the library online catalog search engine, whatever you'd like to call it, I'm going to click on the drop-down menu that shows multiple subjects. And so once again, these are the headings with official technical language that's assigned to items of knowledge that are cataloged and housed in the library online or physically. Okay, so all right, so Jason wanted the economics. So we've got climate change.
Well, what's the difference between the top one, climate change, and then what's the difference between maybe 12 down climate change is?
I don't know. We would, look like, there's less results for climate changes. I don't know, but we'd have to search around. We'd have to click on the different ones. So that's one thing we can start. Okay, so.
And I think that's climatic. So that's a little bit of a different word there. And then we're getting 21,000 results as well. We still have climate change, and you could see the words that we put in as our keywords there underlined. So like you said, for number 2, it comes up with change. Number 3 is specifically climate and change, and so on and so forth. But there is a difference between apparently climate change and climatic change, but there's a lot of results. In fact, is my math correct? Is there more results for climatic change? Yes, there are.
Climatic change?
That's what we're reading right now. That's where we are now. 21,000. If you go all the way back up to the top, you can see the filters that we applied, and it'll state as such. There it is.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that's right.
Climatic.
And now I might need to do a quick Google search and figure out what's the difference. I mean, you might be able to click on an item and maybe read the description. You'd assume that you would have climatic change. Climatic changes.
So we're starting to see here. I see climate with no E, and there's in there a couple times, and that could either be a user error, whoever entered it in, or what were you to say, Ross? That's part of the metadata.
Well, yeah, it could even be a different, spelling of it for, like a British English spelling or something like that. Sometimes you'll see multiple spellings of a word in those subjects to cover all those bases.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of have an idea of subject versus keyword, nesting formats. We've talked about that subject headings employ technical and professional language. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the library, and we'll go back to our library homepage.
Keep going, Nicole. Just for the sake of argument, in dictionary.com, climatic change does not exist. So
Really?
now we're starting to, and there's more results for that 21,000 than the other one. So Ross, it could be another language. It could be a user error. It could be something completely different. But
Maybe it could be like someone added it to the dictionary in their own like locale, like someone starting to use that word, like it's like a new emerging word, like bootylicious is now in the dictionary. It wasn't in the dictionary before like 2000 and whatever it was. It's like that Destiny's Child song came out. Anybody? Anybody anywhere? Okay, so we're back at the library homepage, and now we're going to click in the databases. And this is where we have the list of databases where scholarly journal articles are housed, newspaper articles, some of those different types of sources that your professor is going to want you to use at different times in your college career. And the different databases, all of them, I think all of them use subject terms. They all look a little bit different. Like all the databases look different in general anyway. Like their main search box looks different. Their branding looks different. So let's start. And I know we were going to talk about Credo with mind mapping, but I'm thinking we should go to one general typical database first and look at like searching by subject in there and then go to Credo. Or Jason, do you want to open Credo right now?
Sure. No, either one. I have Credo pulled up, but however we're going on this, that's fine.
Okay. Well, let's click on, how about Academic Search Complete? Do you want to use that as like a very basic one? And then, well, I think when we start talking about Credo, we'll kind of probably spider out into some other different topics. So maybe we'll save that for after. We'll just do this dry, once again, ultra niche conversation on subject terms here in one of our databases. So let's do, once again, we'll do a keyword search. Well, actually, let me go to advanced search. This is the easiest way to get to search by subject. Let's do, okay, I got my phrase of climate change with the parentheses, quotation marks. Subject, oh, here it's called subject terms. So not subject heading. That's like Library of Congress classification of subject heading, but here it's subject terms, but it's subject, so same thing.
Yeah, same difference.
Essentially, yeah. So let's go ahead and search. And the databases offer some like really expanded ways of like navigating around in subject terms. So I think you'll see it's a little bit different than when we were in the library catalog / search engine. Okay, so I've got a list of results here, about 140,000. All of these, if I click on one of the titles to see the general information about this article, I got the abstract, also known as the description, aka what it's all about, aka
doing the most.
Obviously. I'm going to scroll down and we have where do we have our subject at?
They're up at the top.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a
There
few.
you go.
Oh, yes.
Right. So,
Okay.
and again, there's that mitigation again. And we're looking at, I believe, is a periodical or is this a journal? I thought it was a periodical in the
It's a
last.
periodical of some kind, Scientific
Journal.
American,
Yeah.
some kind of magazine.
So what would happen then? So we saw the search terms 142,951. What would happen if you took off the search term filter that you had there, the subject term filter, and then took off the quotation marks? How many results would we get? Let's go backwards.
Okay, sorry. So we still want to search by subject term, but we want
to do everything. Let's do everything, and then let's remove the quotation marks just to play with it and see. Is that more or less?
The select a field thing is kind of like our keyword search in this database.
Okay.
It kind of throws it across all the different fields at once.
All right, so let's see what number we get here.
Is it more than 142,000? It is. It's a lot. And we get other things that keep popping up. So it expands. So you either go in very specific or you come back out very broad. Now, one more time, just play the game. Go back to the on the change, climate change, and let's do climate change and global warming. And our number now to beat is 264. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we want millions and millions and millions of results, but did we get more if we put in different words? The number to beat is 264,000.
Well, I did
correct.
and, so that is going to narrow. But if I did or, oh, we're getting Boolean here.
Sure.
Talk about bootylicious, Booleanlicious.
So now that went all the way back up. So now if you put the or back to and drop the global warming again, and then just trimmed, so get rid of global warming,
Oh, yeah.
And then go back to the change, and then just delete a little bit on the E on the change, and it should pop up. Yep, delete. No, delete the E.
Oh, because for
Yeah, so they go to your Copilot, and what happens there on
You'll have
global
to do the
warming?
asterisk, do we? Okay.
So we're still getting up there. We didn't even finish change, and now we added more. 264 is the number to beat. So Ross, is it good to have more, or is it good to have less? What exactly are we talking about? Because global warming or climate change is very broad.
That's exactly my thought on it. Is when we have 264,000 things, we don't really have a specific direction to explore it. It's casting like the widest net possible. So we need to start reining that in a little bit to make sense of this stuff. Right. And, it's good practice when you're developing your topic, to try to find those kind of specific angles, because then we can build more specific searches, tailor our keywords and our subject words, all that kind of stuff. But
and
260,000 is a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And instead of guessing more search terms or keywords to put up in our advanced search box to narrow it down, we can go to subject. Once again, it's nested. So we did a drop down. And I mean, there's going to be tons. So you can search through and click on some of those, one or more of those different subject terms to help you narrow in on something more on a more specific list of entries. Now, you can also go up here and guess keywords, and that might work. And you could definitely try it that way. But remember, we also can go to subjects and see, basically, it's like keyword. It's like suggestions, and it is going to search by how those items are classified officially and technically with that subject, those subject labels.
And you can see right on that main search page too, every one of those articles lists all of those subjects right underneath the title and the author information, and all that stuff there. So when I do a search, it's often the first thing I'm looking at is what are the right words to use? That's how I look at it. They're basically telling me how to describe this article. And if I want to find similar articles, those are the words to use. So
now, okay, sorry. And if you find an item that, once again, like we showed you in the catalog, that fits what you want, you can see in that item's record all the subject terms that are officially assigned to that item, to that the body of knowledge in this item, and you can click on any of these subject terms right here, and it'll take you to more results, articles, other works of knowledge that are classified as such, be similar and would help you in similar ways.
The only thing about that I always like to caution people about too is when you do that, it will kind of reset your search.
It'll reset, and you'll notice that on the left-hand side, right, Ross, under the refine.
Yeah.
It'll knock everything back out. So if you actually, maybe if you do the back button, maybe it's still there. If you could see if the Nicole on the back button, it might still save your up. If you scroll up and then one more back button, it might save your filters from before. Let's see.
So it's a good strategy up front, but when you've drilled down and you've searched kind of deeper, I've made the mistake where I click one of those subjects and it just completely loses everything that I just did, and I go but up front, it's a great way to start navigating through and finding the right terminology.
And so one way, again, if you can't find this, if you're looking out of the words and you're not really you're more of a visual learner and you can't really understand the text, I'm going to share my screen here, Nicole. And we do have a Credo database that Nicole was referring to that earlier. So this is under databases at seminolestate.edu/library. And what we're going to do is I've already identified over here under environmental sciences. Basically, this is a reference starting point, and there's a lot of different suggestions and a lot of different topics that you can choose from. But we've already been working on climate change, which is available right here. So one of the cool things about this database is once it populates, they will present you with a mind map, and you can see it just expanded right there. So let me pop this mind map out, pop it like it's hot, and you could start to see this. For me, is maybe a little bit easier, right? Because those words that you were just talking about, subject heading, they're still here, the subject terms, but now it's in kind of a different way. So remember, Ross, a moment ago when you said that global warming or climate change was just too broad, and maybe your point of view and Nicole's point of view and my point of view were all a little bit different, but under the same topic. So where should we go? Let's pick one, and let's see what happens here on the mind map under Credo reference database. Anyone at all?
Like carbon
Try
dioxide. Or, no, precipitation. That's what I was going to say.
Precipitation. All right. Survey says.
Interesting.
Okay. Survey says. All right. So when you have precipitation, you're going to click on it. And maybe it's, there we go. Now I'm going to have to minimize it just a little bit. And you can see now what that did was that basically sprawled out all of these other things over here based on precipitation, which again was more of a finite portion of the global, which in this case is climate change. So it'll keep narrowing it in for you, but the actual narrow then sprouts out more, right? So it narrowed it, climate change into precipitation, which again parsed out all of these different things, and you can keep going. Were you then more interested? Because here's global warming. Were you talking about thunderstorms? Did you mean weather? Let's look at meteorology. How does that have to do with climate change? You could see here's our origin, global warming. We touched on precipitation. Now we're getting into meteorology. So I like this. I think it's a really good, you can actually export this as a PDF. You can embed it on a website. And then if you were to go back to the Credo reference, just to show you a lot of this information on the left-hand side will give you the nuts and bolts and the encyclopedic entries over here. And there's also images and so on. But once again, this is for maybe the visual learners. If you can't see those subject headings, the subject terms, and it's just kind of like word, climate this, climate that, climate whatever, maybe the mind map is good for you. And how did we get here? I'm just going to change my tab here for a minute, and I will be right back in just a second here.
And are you doing, wait a minute, are you doing a up? Jason had to get to a new tab, so that was the recoup. I
recouped and I regrouped. Oh, and now
I got a tab.
I recouped and I regrouped. Now I'm pooped. So here we go at seminolestate.edu/library. And so where was I going? Right under databases right here. And that letter was C. C is in Credo over here. C for Credo. And boom, here we go with Credo is right here. And that's how we got to Credo reference.
And also Credo is reference. What's that? Oh,
none of it. No, it didn't. It's only on one tab. Anyway, it's under databases. Same thing.
Yeah, I'll just and Credo is a reference database, so it's kind of like Jason said, encyclopedic, which is great for like basic info. But like if you're told to get a scholarly article on climate change, maybe one of the terms. Why is my tabs not showing? I was trying to be like.
There you go.
Yeah, databases. Is this what you want to show?
Sure.
Just making sure. Okay, cool.
Under the letter C. C for Credo. Yeah, under databases.
But if, like Jason said, you're a visual learner and you could find basically a subject term in Credo that like gives you an idea of like a narrower part of your topic, you could search that as a subject term in a different database where you can get scholarly articles. Because once again, Credo is not for scholarly articles, but it's like the reference basic information to like starter information.
Yeah, and we're coming up on week 8 here now. We'll have spring break next week, and then it's the last side of this spring 2023 term. Folks are putting in their topics, they're maybe putting in their outlines, and those final research papers, whether it's for ENC 1101, 1102, whether it's for AMH, whether it's for speech, if you're doing a speech presentation, all of that's going to come down after we do spring break. So, again, start very wide, narrow in, as we've been talking about, look at the subject. Maybe you can follow that train, that breadcrumb trail, and just see where all of that goes, or you can use the mind map. Do we have time for an outro, courtesy of our?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so let's see here. Where
share your screen.
There's that. Okay, great. Okay. And then I'm over here, and then what's the thing? And then remove, and then I'm gonna stop sharing that screen, and then I'm gonna present it, and then I'm gonna share it, and then it's still not happening, and then where's the thing? And then there it is. Okay, great. So this is rock and roll. This is live from the library earlier today with our Lunchberry live band, and here we go, and here's that, and let's kill out the music there, get rid of the music, and then here's this, and then we'll see you next time. And we're professional librarians. Wait, where's our outro?